A dangerous winter storm is barreling toward the East Coast right now, and what meteorologists are seeing on the radar screens is making them extremely concerned. This is not your typical winter weather event. We are talking about a potentially historic nor'easter that could rapidly intensify into a bomb cyclone within the next 48 hours, bringing blizzard conditions, life-threatening winds up to 70 miles per hour, and snowfall totals that some areas have not seen in decades. If you live anywhere from the Carolinas to Massachusetts, the next 72 hours will be critical, and you need to know exactly when this storm will hit your location. But here is what is making this situation even more dangerous. Before this massive East Coast storm arrives, we have severe weather breaking out right now across the Ohio Valley. Over 10 million people are under threat of tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail this afternoon. This is a multi-threat weather emergency spanning half the country, and the timing could not be worse. The severe weather threat today will transition directly into widespread heavy snow tonight, creating a nightmare scenario for travel and emergency response. Right now, at this very moment, the atmosphere is setting up in a way that meteorologists describe as extremely concerning. A powerful upper-level disturbance is sweeping across the Mississippi and Ohio River valleys, and ahead of this system, warm, humid air is surging northward at an alarming rate. This is creating what we call atmospheric instability, which is essentially fuel for severe thunderstorms. And we are not talking about ordinary thunderstorms. We are talking about supercells capable of spawning tornadoes. Here is the critical information you need to know if you live in the severe weather threat zone. The greatest tornado risk today is concentrated in a corridor from Louisville, Kentucky through Evansville, Indiana, up to Dayton and Cincinnati, Ohio, and extending into Indianapolis, Indiana. This is a 5% tornado probability zone, which means there is a significant chance that tornadoes will develop in these areas between noon and 8 p.m. today. That 5% might not sound like much, but in meteorological terms, this represents a heightened level of danger that requires immediate attention and preparation. Cities directly in the moderate tornado threat zone include Indianapolis, Noblesville, Cincinnati, Louisville, Evansville, and Dayton. If you are in any of these locations, you need to have multiple ways to receive weather warnings this afternoon. That means your phone should have weather alert apps turned on, you should have a weather radio, and you should be monitoring local news. Tornadoes can develop very quickly in this type of setup, sometimes with as little as 10 to 15 minutes of warning time. The timing of today's severe weather is extremely specific, and I want to walk you through this hour by hour because your life could depend on knowing exactly when the danger peaks in your area. Right now, we already have some elevated storms moving through northwest Indiana and northeast Illinois, left over from overnight activity. These are producing some hail and gusty winds, but they are weakening as they move into Michigan. The real danger begins around lunchtime, specifically around noon today, just east of St. Louis, Missouri. This is when we expect storm activity to rapidly intensify. Watch the area around Belleville, Illinois, and Columbia, Illinois very closely between noon and 1 p.m. Any storms that develop here have the potential to quickly organize into supercells. By 1 p.m. this afternoon, we are forecasting several supercells to be ongoing across southern Illinois and southwestern Indiana. The corridor from Evansville to Vincennes to Terre Haute will be under the gun between 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. These storms will be tracking northeast at about 40 to 50 miles per hour, so they will be moving fast. The tornado threat will be highest along a specific boundary where warm, moist air is colliding with cooler air. This boundary is setting up right along Interstate 64 from Evansville to Louisville. By 2 p.m., the most dangerous storms should be approaching the Indiana-Kentucky border. Communities like Owensboro, Kentucky, Tell City, Indiana, and Jasper, Indiana need to be on high alert between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. This is when we could see multiple tornadoes on the ground simultaneously. The storms will have access to incredible wind shear, which means they will be rotating violently. Between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m., the tornado threat shifts into central and southern Indiana, as well as northern Kentucky. Louisville, Kentucky faces its highest tornado risk between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. Frankfort, Lexington, Georgetown, and Richmond in Kentucky should all be on high alert during this time window. In Indiana, Columbus, Seymour, and Bedford will be in the crosshairs between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. By 5 p.m., the severe weather will be pushing into Ohio. Cincinnati faces its peak tornado threat between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. Dayton, Springfield, and Middletown should be most vigilant between 5:30 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. The storms may start to weaken somewhat after 6 p.m., but tornadoes will still be possible through about 8 p.m. across central Ohio, including the Columbus metro area. After 7 p.m. tonight, most of the tornado threat should diminish, but we will still have strong to severe thunderstorms capable of producing damaging winds and hail pushing through Pennsylvania and upstate New York into the overnight hours. Pittsburgh could see severe storms between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. Erie, Pennsylvania, and Buffalo, New York might get clipped by severe weather between 10 p.m. and midnight. Now here is where this story takes an even more dangerous turn. While severe weather is happening across the Ohio Valley this afternoon, a powerful winter storm is simultaneously developing across the upper Midwest. This is the same storm system, just the cold side of it. And the combination of what happens today with what happens over the next 48 hours creates a perfect storm scenario that weather forecasters have been warning about for days. Let me walk you through the winter weather timeline city by city, because if you are in the path of this storm, you need to know exactly when the snow starts, when it will be heaviest, and when conditions will become life-threatening. Starting tonight, Thursday night into early Friday morning, we are expecting widespread heavy snow to develop across Iowa, Nebraska, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. Des Moines, Iowa will see snow beginning around 6 p.m. tonight, becoming heavy by 10 p.m. tonight. Snowfall rates could reach 1 to 2 inches per hour between midnight and 6 a.m. Friday morning. Total accumulation in Des Moines, 6 to 10 inches by Friday evening. Travel will become extremely dangerous after 10 p.m. tonight. Omaha, Nebraska, snow begins around 7 p.m. tonight, becoming heavy by 11 p.m. The heaviest snow in Omaha will fall between 1 a.m. and 8 a.m. Friday morning with snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour. Total accumulation 5 to 8 inches. Interstate 80 through Nebraska will become impassable in many locations overnight tonight. Cedar Rapids, Iowa faces similar timing with snow beginning around 5 p.m. tonight and becoming heavy by 9 p.m. The peak of the storm hits Cedar Rapids between 11 p.m. tonight and 7 a.m. Friday morning. Expect 7 to 11 inches of snow. Highway travel should be avoided after 9 p.m. tonight. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, you will start seeing snow around 8 p.m. tonight, but the heaviest snow does not arrive until after midnight. Between 2 a.m. and 10 a.m. Friday morning, Milwaukee could see snowfall rates exceeding 1 inch per hour. Total accumulation 4 to 7 inches. The Friday morning commute in Milwaukee will be extremely hazardous. Madison, Wisconsin, similar timeline to Milwaukee, with snow beginning around 8 p.m. tonight and peak intensity between 3 a.m. and 11 a.m. Friday. Total snowfall 5 to 9 inches. All schools in the Madison area should anticipate delays or closures Friday. Green Bay, Wisconsin will see snow starting around 7 p.m. tonight, with the heaviest snow falling between 1 a.m. and 9 a.m. Friday. Total accumulation 6 to 10 inches, possibly more in the higher elevations east of the city. Now let us talk about the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, because this area is going to get absolutely buried. Marquette, Michigan. You are looking at snow beginning around 9 p.m. tonight and continuing through the entire day Friday and into Friday night. This will be a 30-hour snow event for you. Total accumulation 18 to 24 inches with isolated amounts over 2 feet possible in the higher terrain. This is a paralyzing snowstorm for the Upper Peninsula. Do not travel Friday or Friday night if you can avoid it. Escanaba, Michigan, similar story. Snow begins around 8 p.m. tonight and continues through Friday night. Total accumulation 15 to 20 inches. The weight of this snow on roofs will be significant. If you have an older structure or outbuilding, you need to be monitoring for roof stress. Houghton and Hancock in Michigan, Esquimalt Peninsula could see 24 to 30 inches of snow from this storm, making this one of the biggest snowstorms of the winter season for that area. The snow begins around 7 p.m. tonight and continues through Saturday morning. Duluth, Minnesota will start seeing snow around 6 p.m. tonight, with moderate to heavy snow continuing through Friday afternoon. Total accumulation 8 to 12 inches. The Interstate 35 corridor from Duluth south to Minneapolis will be treacherous. Minneapolis, Minnesota, snow begins around 8 p.m. tonight but stays light until after midnight. The heavy snow arrives between 4 a.m. and 2 p.m. Friday. Total accumulation 4 to 7 inches. The Friday rush hour in the Twin Cities will be a nightmare. Now let me give you some shocking context about why the upper Midwest snow is so dangerous tonight. Wind gusts of 30 to 40 miles per hour will accompany the heavy snow, creating near blizzard conditions. Visibility will drop below 1/4 mile in many locations, making travel not just difficult, but impossible in some areas. Wind chill values will plunge to between 0 and 10 degrees Fahrenheit overnight tonight across Iowa, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. If you get stranded in this storm, you could face life-threatening cold exposure within 30 minutes. But wait, there is more to this story, and this is where it gets truly historic. After the Midwest gets hammered tonight and Friday, this storm system does not just weaken and die. Instead, it intensifies dramatically as it moves toward the East Coast. What meteorologists are tracking is something called bombogenesis, which occurs when a storm's central pressure drops at least 24 millibars in 24 hours. The storm heading toward the East Coast this weekend is forecast to drop 35 to 40 millibars in 24 hours, making it an explosive bomb cyclone. Let me explain what this means for the East Coast, starting with the severe weather threat that extends into Friday. As the storm system continues east on Friday, there is a marginal risk of severe weather across parts of Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. The timing will be primarily Friday afternoon and evening, with the greatest threat being damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour. Cities like Charlotte, North Carolina, Greensboro, North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, Richmond, Virginia, and Roanoke, Virginia should be prepared for possible strong to severe thunderstorms between 2 p.m. and 10 p.m. Friday. Now here is where the story becomes potentially historic. Friday night into Saturday, this storm system reaches the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of the Carolinas, and that is when everything changes. The clash between Arctic air that has been building over Canada and moisture from the Atlantic Ocean creates an explosive setup. By Saturday morning, we could be looking at one of the most intense nor'easters in recent memory. Let me walk through the East Coast winter storm timing city by city, because this level of detail could save your life or help you make critical decisions about travel and preparation. Atlanta, Georgia, you are on the western fringe of this storm. You will see a period of snow Friday night between 10 p.m. Friday and 6 a.m. Saturday. Accumulation will be light, 1 to 3 inches, but this is enough to create major problems in a city not equipped for snow. The Saturday morning in Atlanta will feature icy roads and hazardous travel. Greenville, South Carolina, your snow begins around 8 p.m. Friday and continues through Saturday morning, ending by noon Saturday. Total accumulation, 2 to 5 inches. The highest amounts will be in the higher elevations west of the city. Spartanburg, South Carolina, and the western upstate region could see 4 to 7 inches of snow, with the snow beginning Friday evening around 7 p.m. and continuing through Saturday afternoon. Charlotte, North Carolina, this is where the storm really starts to ramp up. Snow begins Friday night around 9 p.m., but stays light through midnight. The heavy snow arrives between 3 a.m. and 1 p.m. Saturday. Charlotte could see 5 to 8 inches of snow, with the northern suburbs possibly reaching 10 inches. This will be one of the heaviest snowstorms Charlotte has seen in years. Interstate 85 and Interstate 77 through the Charlotte Metro will be extremely dangerous Saturday. Greensboro, North Carolina, you are in the bullseye of the heaviest snow for the North Carolina Piedmont. Snow begins around 10 p.m. Friday, becomes heavy after 2 a.m. Saturday, and continues heavy through noon Saturday. Total accumulation, 7 to 12 inches. Some models are showing potential for up to 15 inches in the Greensboro area. This would be historic for this location. Do not travel Saturday if you can avoid it. Raleigh, North Carolina, snow begins around 11 p.m. Friday becomes heavy between 4 a.m. and 2 p.m. Saturday. Total accumulation, 6 to 10 inches. The Research Triangle area will come to a standstill Saturday. Raleigh-Durham International Airport should expect major delays and cancellations. Winston-Salem, High Point, and Burlington in North Carolina are all looking at 6 to 11 inches of snow, with the heaviest snow falling Saturday morning. Durham, Chapel Hill, and Cary in the Triangle area will see similar amounts to Raleigh, 6 to 10 inches, all falling primarily on Saturday. Now let us talk about coastal North Carolina, because this is where the storm becomes truly dangerous and potentially life-threatening. The Outer Banks and the coastal communities are facing a triple threat: heavy snow, blizzard conditions with winds up to 70 miles per hour, and significant coastal flooding. Wilmington, North Carolina. Snow begins around midnight Friday night, becomes heavy by 6 a.m. Saturday, and continues through Saturday afternoon. Total accumulation 5 to 9 inches. But the snow is not even the main story here. Wind gusts of 50 to 60 miles per hour will create blizzard conditions. Visibility will be near zero at times. This is a life-threatening situation if you try to travel. New Bern, North Carolina, you are looking at 6 to 10 inches of snow beginning around 1 a.m. Saturday and continuing through Saturday evening. Winds will gust to 60 miles per hour. Power outages are likely and could be prolonged. Morehead City and Atlantic Beach, North Carolina face 7 to 11 inches of snow with winds gusting to 65 miles per hour, but you also face significant coastal flooding. Storm surge of 2 to 4 feet above normal high tide is forecast. Oceanfront properties could experience damaging wave action and erosion. Now here is the part that is truly historic. The Outer Banks, from Nags Head to Hatteras to Ocracoke, you are facing what could be the most severe winter storm in decades. The forecast calls for 8 to 14 inches of snow, with isolated amounts possibly reaching 16 inches. Winds sustained at 40 to 50 miles per hour, with gusts to 70 miles per hour. This meets the criteria for an extreme blizzard. Visibility will be near zero for extended periods on Saturday. Coastal flooding will be severe with storm surge of 3 to 5 feet. Highway 12 will likely be impassable and may experience overwash in multiple locations. If you are on the Outer Banks right now, Friday morning you need to leave today. By Friday evening, it may be too late to evacuate safely. Kitty Hawk, Kill Devil Hills, and Nags Head, the snow begins around 2 a.m. Saturday and continues through Saturday night. Peak winds occur Saturday afternoon and evening. This is a life-threatening blizzard. Do not attempt to travel Saturday. If you lose power, you may be without it for days. Make sure you have adequate food, water, and heating sources that do not require electricity. Hatteras and Buxton on Hatteras Island will see the full force of this storm, with winds possibly gusting over 75 miles per hour Saturday evening. The combination of snow and salt spray will create whiteout conditions. This is hurricane-force wind with heavy snow, an exceptionally rare and dangerous combination. Moving up the coast to Virginia, Norfolk is facing a significant winter storm. Snow begins around 2 a.m. Saturday, becomes heavy by 6 a.m. Saturday, and continues through Saturday evening. Norfolk could see 7 to 12 inches of snow. Wind gusts of 45 to 55 miles per hour will create blizzard conditions at times. The Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel will likely close Saturday due to high winds and low visibility. Virginia Beach faces similar conditions to Norfolk, with 7 to 12 inches of snow and winds gusting to 55 miles per hour. The ocean front will experience significant beach erosion and minor to moderate coastal flooding. Waves of 15 to 20 feet are forecast offshore. Newport News, Hampton, and Williamsburg will all see 6 to 11 inches of snow beginning early Saturday morning and continuing through Saturday evening. Interstate 64 across the Hampton Roads area will be extremely dangerous or impassable at times Saturday. Richmond, Virginia, you are on the western edge of the heavy snow band. Snow begins around 3 a.m. Saturday, becomes moderate to heavy between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Saturday. Total accumulation 4 to 8 inches. The northern and eastern suburbs could see higher amounts, while areas west and south of the city see less. Now let us talk about the Delmarva Peninsula, because this area often gets overlooked in East Coast storms, but you are going to get hit hard. Salisbury, Maryland, snow begins around 3 a.m. Saturday. Peak intensity 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday. Total accumulation 6 to 10 inches. Winds gusting to 50 miles per hour will create blowing and drifting snow, making travel extremely hazardous. Ocean City, Maryland faces a full blizzard. Snow begins around 4 a.m. Saturday, continues through Saturday night. Total accumulation 7 to 12 inches. Winds gusting to 60 miles per hour. Significant coastal flooding with storm surge of 2 to 4 feet. The Route 50 bridge may close due to high winds. Downtown flooding is likely. Dover, Delaware will see 5 to 9 inches of snow beginning around 4 a.m. Saturday and continuing through Saturday evening. Winds gusting to 45 miles per hour will create low visibility conditions. Rehoboth Beach and Bethany Beach in Delaware face 6 to 10 inches of snow with winds gusting to 55 miles per hour. Coastal flooding will impact beachfront properties. Significant beach erosion is expected. Now here is where the forecast becomes highly uncertain, and this is critical information for anyone in the major cities along Interstate 95. The exact track of this storm will determine whether cities like Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York City, and Boston get buried in snow or just see flurries. And right now, the computer models are all over the place. The European model, which is often the most reliable, shows the storm tracking farther offshore, which would limit snowfall along Interstate 95 to just 1 to 3 inches. But the American GFS model has been consistently showing a track closer to the coast, which could bring 6 to 12 inches of snow or even more to the major cities. Let me give you the most likely scenario right now based on the latest data, but understand this forecast could change significantly by Friday evening. Washington, D.C., under the current most likely track, you are looking at 1 to 4 inches of snow Saturday, with the snow beginning around 6 a.m. Saturday and ending by Saturday evening. However, if the storm tracks 50 miles farther west than currently forecast, Washington could see 6 to 10 inches. This is a forecast we are watching very closely. Baltimore, Maryland, similar situation to Washington. Current forecast, 2 to 5 inches of snow Saturday, but a westward shift in the track could bring 7 to 12 inches. The uncertainty is frustrating, but this is the reality with coastal storms. We should have much better clarity by Friday evening. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, current forecast calls for 1 to 4 inches of snow Saturday and Saturday night. But, and this is important, a track shift could bring 5 to 10 inches. The New Jersey suburbs east of Philadelphia have a better chance of seeing higher amounts. Atlantic City, New Jersey is in a more favorable location for heavy snow. Current forecast, 4 to 8 inches Saturday and Saturday night, with winds gusting to 50 miles per hour. Coastal flooding is likely. Trenton, New Jersey could see 2 to 6 inches, with higher amounts possible if the track shifts west. New York City, this is the forecast everyone wants to know, and right now we have to be honest about the uncertainty. The current most likely track brings 1 to 3 inches of snow to Manhattan Saturday night into Sunday. But if the storm hugs the coast more closely, New York City could see 6 to 10 inches or more. This is a very difficult forecast right now. We are watching several key indicators that will tell us by Friday evening which scenario is more likely. Newark, Jersey City, and the urban areas of North Jersey are likely to see slightly more snow than Manhattan, perhaps 2 to 5 inches in the current most likely scenario. Long Island faces a better chance of significant snow. The Hamptons, Montauk, and eastern Long Island could see 4 to 8 inches of snow with winds gusting to 55 miles per hour. The Long Island Expressway could become treacherous Saturday night. Bridgeport and New Haven in Connecticut could see 3 to 7 inches of snow Saturday night into Sunday, with the higher amounts along the coast. Hartford, Connecticut is forecast to see 2 to 5 inches, primarily falling Sunday. Boston, Massachusetts, you are in a similar position to New York City. The current forecast calls for 1 to 3 inches of snow Sunday, mostly affecting the southern and eastern suburbs, but a westward track shift could bring significant snow to the entire metro area. We should have a much better idea of Boston's fate by Friday evening. However, Cape Cod is much more likely to see significant snow regardless of the exact storm track. Hyannis, Provincetown, and the Outer Cape could see 3 to 6 inches of snow Sunday, with winds gusting to 50 miles per hour. This will create hazardous travel conditions on Cape Cod Sunday. Martha S. Vineyard and Nantucket should prepare for 3 to 7 inches of snow with very strong winds gusting to 55 miles per hour. Ferry service will likely be suspended. Providence, Rhode Island could see 2 to 5 inches of snow Sunday with higher amounts near the coast. Now let me give you some context about why this level of uncertainty exists. When a nor'easter develops off the coast, a shift in the storm track of just 50 to 75 miles can mean the difference between 2 inches of snow and 12 inches of snow for a city like Philadelphia or New York. This is because the heaviest snow falls on the northwest side of these storms. If the center of the storm passes 100 miles offshore, the heavy snow stays over the ocean. If it passes 50 miles offshore, cities get buried. The reason we cannot pin down the exact track right now is that the storm has not even formed yet. It will not develop until Friday night and Saturday. Once it forms, we can see exactly where it is and adjust the forecast accordingly. This is why you need to keep checking the forecast every few hours on Friday and Saturday morning. This storm forecast will evolve rapidly. Now let me tell you about what happens behind the storm, because this is equally important. After this storm passes, an Arctic air mass of historic proportions is going to pour into the eastern United States. We are talking about some of the coldest air since February 2015 in many locations. By Sunday morning, temperatures across the East Coast will be brutal. Boston, 8 to 12 degrees Fahrenheit. New York City, 12 to 16 degrees. Philadelphia, 14 to 18 degrees. Washington, D.C., 16 to 20 degrees. These are dangerous cold levels, especially combined with winds gusting to 30 miles per hour, which will drive wind chills down to 0 or below in many locations. The cold extends deep into the south. Atlanta will drop to 22 degrees Sunday morning. Charlotte, 18 degrees. Raleigh, 16 degrees. These temperatures, in combination with whatever snow is on the ground, will create dangerous conditions. Pipes may freeze in homes that are not adequately winterized. Homeless populations face life-threatening cold exposure. By Sunday night into Monday morning, the cold intensifies even more. Detroit could see temperatures of 5 below zero Monday morning. Chicago, 0 degrees. Cleveland, 3 degrees. Pittsburgh, 8 degrees. The wind chills will be brutal, 15 to 25 degrees below zero across the Great Lakes and Northeast Monday morning. This Arctic air is not a brief shot of cold that moves through quickly. The latest long-range models show this cold air mass lingering through at least Wednesday, February 25th. That means multiple days of dangerous cold after the storm. Now let me give you specific forecasts for additional cities that I have not yet covered in detail, because I want everyone to know exactly what to expect in their location. Asheville, North Carolina, you are in the mountains, and mountains always complicate snow forecasts. The current forecast calls for 5 to 9 inches of snow beginning Friday evening around 8 p.m. and continuing through Saturday afternoon. The highest elevations above 3,000 feet could see 8 to 12 inches. Travel on Interstate 40 through the mountains will be treacherous to impossible Saturday. If you need to travel east or west through the Asheville area, do it Friday, not Saturday. Boone, North Carolina, and the high country could see 10 to 16 inches of snow from this storm, making it one of the biggest storms of the winter. The snow begins Friday evening and continues through Saturday evening. Charleston, South Carolina, you will see mostly rain from this storm. But there could be a period of mixed precipitation or wet snow very early Saturday morning between 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. as cold air briefly wraps into the system. Accumulation would be minimal, less than an inch, but it could create slick spots on bridges and overpasses. Columbia, South Carolina, similar to Charleston, mostly rain, but a brief period of mixed precipitation is possible early Saturday morning. Little to no accumulation expected. Savannah, Georgia, all rain from this storm. Heavy rain is likely Friday night into Saturday morning, with 1 to 2 inches of rainfall possible. Localized flooding in poor drainage areas is possible. Jacksonville, Florida, the storm stays too far north to bring significant weather to Jacksonville. You might see some showers Friday night, but nothing severe. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, faces a challenging forecast. You are right on the line between mostly rain and potentially significant snow. Current forecast, rain changing to snow early Saturday morning with 1 to 4 inches of accumulation possible before changing back to rain. This is a low confidence forecast that could change significantly. Fayetteville, North Carolina, snow begins around 11 p.m. Friday, becomes heavy after 4 a.m. Saturday, continues through Saturday afternoon. Total accumulation 4 to 8 inches. Fort Bragg military operations may be impacted Saturday. Greenville, North Carolina, snow begins around 1 a.m. Saturday, continues through Saturday evening. Total accumulation 5 to 9 inches. Winds gusting to 45 miles per hour will create blowing and drifting snow. Roanoke, Virginia, snow begins Friday night around 10 p.m., becomes heavy after 3 a.m. Saturday and Saturday evening. Total accumulation 3 to 7 inches. Interstate 81 through Roanoke will be hazardous Saturday. Lynchburg, Virginia, similar timing to Roanoke with 3 to 6 inches of snow expected Saturday. Charlottesville, Virginia could see 2 to 5 inches of snow Saturday, with the snow beginning around 4 a.m. and ending by evening. Fredericksburg, Virginia is right in the zone of maximum uncertainty between D.C. and the coast. Current forecast, 2 to 6 inches, but this could change dramatically based on the storm track. Annapolis, Maryland, and the western shore of the Chesapeake Bay could see 3 to 7 inches of snow Saturday, with winds gusting to 45 miles per hour. Now let me talk about major outdoor events that could be impacted this weekend. The Daytona 500, which is scheduled for Sunday, February 22nd, should not be directly impacted by this storm. Daytona Beach will see temperatures in the upper 50s to low 60s on Sunday with partly cloudy skies. However, if teams or fans are traveling from the Northeast or Mid-Atlantic, your travel could be severely disrupted trying to get to Daytona. Any outdoor activities planned for this weekend in the eastern United States should be postponed. Youth sports, marathons, outdoor festivals, anything scheduled for Saturday or Sunday from the Carolinas to New England should be rescheduled. The combination of heavy snow, dangerous wind chills, and hazardous travel makes outdoor activities dangerous and irresponsible this weekend. President's Day on Monday is going to feel brutally cold. Any outdoor activities or parades scheduled for President's Day should be prepared for dangerous wind chills. In the wake of this storm, wind chills Monday morning will range from 15 below zero in northern New England to 5 to 10 degrees along the immediate coast. Now let me give you some critical safety information because this is truly a dangerous storm system. If you must travel during this storm, make sure you have a winter survival kit in your car. That means blankets, food, water, flashlight, phone charger, and a shovel. If you get stranded in blizzard conditions, your car is your shelter. Do not leave it to try to walk for help unless you can see your destination clearly. More people die from exposure trying to walk in blizzards than die inside their vehicles. If you lose power during or after this storm, do not use generators indoors or in attached garages. Carbon monoxide poisoning kills multiple people during every major winter storm. Generators must be at least 20 feet away from your home with the exhaust pointing away from buildings. For coastal residents, particularly along the Outer Banks, Virginia Beach, and the Delmarva Peninsula, the coastal flooding threat is real and dangerous. If you are in a flood-prone area and local authorities issue evacuation orders, leave immediately. Storm surge combined with waves can quickly overwhelm coastal properties. Your life is more valuable than your belongings. For anyone with medical conditions that require electricity for medical equipment, you need to have a backup plan right now. If you rely on oxygen, CPAP machines, or other powered medical devices, make arrangements now to go somewhere with generator backup, or make sure you have battery backup that lasts at least 48 hours. Power outages from this storm could last multiple days in the hardest hit areas. Now let me tell you about the longer-term pattern because this is not the only winter storm we are tracking. After this major storm moves out Monday, the Arctic air stays in place through Wednesday. But then late next week, we are watching another potential storm system that could bring more snow to parts of the Midwest and Northeast around Friday, February 27th or Saturday, February 28th. It is too early to have details on that potential storm, but the overall pattern supports additional winter weather chances over the next 10 days. Looking at the final days of February and into early March, the weather pattern remains active and cold. We are not out of winter yet, not by a long shot. March historically brings some of the biggest snowstorms to the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. The pattern we are seeing suggests winter will maintain its grip through at least the first half of March. Now, let me address the forecast for specific regions of the country that I have not yet covered in detail because I know people from all over the country are watching this, and you want to know how this impacts you even if you are not in the direct path of the storm. For the Pacific Northwest, this storm system does not directly impact you, but it is connected to a broader weather pattern that will bring multiple rounds of rain and mountain snow to Washington and Oregon over the next week. Seattle, you are looking at rain chances every day through next Wednesday. Rainfall totals of 2 to 4 inches are likely, which could lead to localized flooding in urban areas and landslide concerns in the Cascades. Portland, Oregon, similar story, with rain likely every day through next week. The persistent rain is starting to cause river levels to rise, so flood watches may be needed by early next week. The mountains of Washington and Oregon will continue to get pounded with snow. Stevens Pass, Snoqualmie Pass, and Mount Baker could see an additional 2 to 4 feet of snow over the next week. Avalanche danger is increasing in the Cascades. Backcountry travelers need to check avalanche forecasts before heading out. For California, the weather pattern is much quieter. Los Angeles will see partly cloudy skies with temperatures in the 60s through the weekend. San Francisco will have similar conditions, with afternoon temperatures in the mid-50s to around 60 degrees. San Diego stays pleasant with temperatures in the mid-60s and mostly sunny skies. For the Southwest, the weather remains quiet. Phoenix will see sunny skies with afternoon temperatures climbing to the mid-70s this weekend. Las Vegas will be partly cloudy with temperatures in the mid-60s. Albuquerque will be chilly in the mornings with lows in the 20s, but afternoon highs will reach the 50s under mostly sunny skies. For the southern plains, Texas will see a mix of weather. Dallas faces a cold front moving through Friday, bringing showers and thunderstorms Friday afternoon and evening. Behind the front, temperatures will drop with highs only in the 40s Saturday and Sunday. Houston will see scattered showers Friday, then clearing and cooler for the weekend with highs in the 50s. San Antonio and Austin will see similar conditions with showers Friday and cooler temperatures for the weekend. For the Central Plains, Kansas City will see some snow showers Thursday night and Friday as the storm system passes to the south. Accumulation will be light, 1 to 2 inches. Temperatures will be cold, with highs only in the 20s Friday and Saturday. Wichita will see similar conditions, with light snow possible Thursday night and Friday, then very cold temperatures for the weekend. For the Mountain West, Denver will see partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies this weekend, with afternoon temperatures in the 40s. The recent warmth is taking a break, but no major storms are expected. Salt Lake City will see a weak system bring a chance of snow showers Friday and Friday night, with minor accumulation possible, an inch or less. Boise will see mostly cloudy skies with a slight chance of snow showers, but no significant accumulation is expected. For the northern plains, Fargo, North Dakota will see very cold temperatures this weekend, with highs only in the teens and lows dropping to 0 or below. Bismarck will see similar conditions. The wind chills will be brutal, 15 to 25 degrees below 0 at times. This is dangerous cold that requires limiting outdoor exposure. For the Great Lakes region beyond what I have already covered, Grand Rapids, Michigan will see snow developing tonight and continuing through Friday with 3 to 6 inches of accumulation. The Friday commute will be hazardous. Lansing, Michigan will see similar conditions. Detroit will see snow showers tonight and Friday with 2 to 4 inches of accumulation. Interstate 75 and Interstate 94 will be slick Friday. Cleveland, Ohio will see snow showers developing Friday, continuing into Friday night, with 2 to 5 inches of accumulation. The lakefront could see higher amounts due to lake effect enhancement. Buffalo, New York will see snow showers Friday and Friday night with 3 to 6 inches of accumulation, possibly more in the southern suburbs where lake effect snow adds to the storm snow. Syracuse, New York will see snow developing Friday morning, becoming heavy at times Friday afternoon and evening. Total accumulation 4 to 8 inches. The New York State Thruway from Syracuse to Albany will be treacherous Friday evening. Albany, New York will see snow beginning Friday afternoon, continuing through Friday night and into Saturday morning. Total accumulation 3 to 7 inches. The Friday evening commute will be very hazardous. Burlington, Vermont will see snow beginning Friday afternoon, continuing through Saturday morning. Total accumulation 4 to 8 inches. Interstate 89 will be snow-covered and slippery Friday night. Portland, Maine will see snow beginning Saturday morning, continuing through Saturday afternoon. Total accumulation 2 to 5 inches. The exact amount depends on how close the storm passes to the coast. Bangor, Maine could see 3 to 7 inches of snow Saturday, with the higher amounts if the storm tracks close to the coast. Now, for those of you watching who live in the major cities of the South and West that will not be directly impacted by this storm, you still need to be aware of this because it will impact the national transportation network. If you have flights scheduled this weekend to or from anywhere in the eastern United States, you should assume there will be delays and cancellations. Major airports that will be severely impacted include Charlotte, Raleigh-Durham, Norfolk, Philadelphia, Newark, and potentially New York JFK and LaGuardia, depending on the exact storm track. Boston Logan could also see impacts Sunday. If you are flying this weekend, check your flight status frequently and build in extra time for rebooking if needed. Airlines will likely start canceling flights Friday evening as they preposition aircraft and crews ahead of the storm. For ground transportation, Amtrak service along the Northeast Corridor will likely be reduced or suspended Saturday and Sunday. Greyhound and other bus services will likely cancel routes through the storm zone. If you are planning to travel by bus or train, you need to have a backup plan. Now let me give you the forecast for over 50 additional cities to make sure everyone knows what to expect in their specific location. I want you to have this information so you can make informed decisions and so you can share it with family and friends who might be in the path of this storm. Scranton, Pennsylvania. Snow begins Saturday morning around 8 a.m., continues through Saturday night. Total accumulation 3 to 7 inches. The Pocono Mountains could see 6 to 10 inches. Allentown and Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Snow begins Saturday morning, continues through Saturday night. Total accumulation 3 to 6 inches. Reading, Pennsylvania. Snow begins Saturday morning, continues through Saturday evening. Total accumulation 2 to 5 inches. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Snow begins Saturday morning around 6 a.m., continues through Saturday evening. Total accumulation 2 to 5 inches. Interstate 81 and Interstate 83 will be slick Saturday. York, Pennsylvania, similar to Harrisburg, 2 to 5 inches of snow Saturday. Lancaster, Pennsylvania, snow begins Saturday morning, continues through Saturday evening. Total accumulation 2 to 5 inches. Wilmington, Delaware, snow begins Saturday morning around 6 a.m., continues through Saturday night. Total accumulation 2 to 6 inches, depending on the exact storm track. Atlantic City, New Jersey, snow begins Saturday morning, continues through Sunday morning. Total accumulation 4 to 8 inches. Winds gusting to 50 miles per hour. Coastal flooding likely with 2 to 3 feet of storm surge. Toms River, New Jersey. Snow begins Saturday morning, continues through Sunday morning. Total accumulation 3 to 7 inches. Princeton, New Jersey. Snow begins Saturday morning, continues through Saturday night. Total accumulation 2 to 5 inches. Patterson and Passaic, New Jersey. Snow begins Saturday afternoon, continues through Sunday morning. Total accumulation 2 to 5 inches. Stamford, Connecticut. Snow begins Saturday afternoon, continues through Sunday morning. Total accumulation 2 to 5 inches. Danbury, Connecticut. Snow begins Saturday afternoon, continues through Sunday morning. Total accumulation 2 to 6 inches. Waterbury, Connecticut. Snow begins Saturday afternoon, continues through Sunday. Total accumulation 3 to 6 inches. New London, Connecticut. Snow begins Saturday afternoon, continues through Sunday morning. Total accumulation 2 to 5 inches with higher amounts near the coast. Worcester, Massachusetts. Snow begins Saturday evening, continues through Sunday afternoon. Total accumulation 3 to 7 inches. Springfield, Massachusetts. Snow begins Saturday afternoon, continues through Sunday morning. Total accumulation 2 to 6 inches. Lowell, Massachusetts. Snow begins Saturday evening, continues through Sunday. Total accumulation 2 to 5 inches. Fall River, Massachusetts. Snow begins Saturday evening, continues through Sunday. Total accumulation 2 to 5 inches. Brockton, Massachusetts. Snow begins Saturday evening, continues through Sunday. Total accumulation 2 to 5 inches. Warwick, Rhode Island. Snow begins Saturday afternoon, continues through Sunday morning. Total accumulation 2 to 5 inches. Manchester, New Hampshire. Snow begins Saturday afternoon, continues through Sunday. Total accumulation 3 to 7 inches. Interstate 93 will be snow-covered Saturday night and Sunday. Concord, New Hampshire. Similar to Manchester, 3 to 7 inches of snow Saturday night into Sunday. Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Snow begins Saturday afternoon, continues through Sunday morning. Total accumulation 2 to 5 inches. Nashua, New Hampshire. Snow begins Saturday afternoon, continues through Sunday. Total accumulation 2 to 6 inches. Augusta, Maine. Snow begins Saturday morning, continues through Sunday morning. Total accumulation 3 to 7 inches. Lewiston, Maine. Snow begins Saturday morning, continues through Sunday. Total accumulation 3 to 7 inches. South Burlington, Vermont. Snow begins Friday afternoon, continues through Saturday morning. Total accumulation 4 to 8 inches. The I-89 corridor will be very hazardous Friday night. Rutland, Vermont. Snow begins Friday afternoon, continues through Saturday. Total accumulation 5 to 9 inches. Montpelier, Vermont. Snow begins Friday afternoon, continues through Saturday morning. Total accumulation 4 to 8 inches. Plattsburgh, New York. Snow begins Friday afternoon, continues through Saturday morning. Total accumulation 4 to 8 inches. Interstate 87 will be treacherous Friday night. Binghamton, New York. Snow begins Friday morning, continues through Saturday morning. Total accumulation 4 to 8 inches. Ithaca, New York, snow begins Friday morning, continues through Saturday morning, total accumulation 4 to 8 inches. Elmira, New York, snow begins Friday morning, continues through Saturday, total accumulation 3 to 7 inches. Utica, New York, snow begins Friday morning, continues through Friday night, total accumulation 4 to 8 inches. The New York State Thruway will be hazardous Friday. Glens Falls, New York, snow begins Friday afternoon, continues through Saturday morning, total accumulation 3 to 7 inches. Now let me address something very important. I know a lot of you are looking at the calendar and thinking, this is late February, we should be moving towards spring. Why are we still seeing these major winter storms? The answer is that late February and early March historically produce some of the biggest snowstorms for the East Coast. The March 1993 superstorm, one of the most powerful storms of the 20th century, occurred in early March. The blizzard of 1996, which buried the East Coast under 2 to 3 feet of snow, occurred in early January, but March can produce similar storms. The reason is that late winter storms have access to more moisture than midwinter storms. The Atlantic Ocean is warming up slightly as we move towards spring, which means more evaporation and more moisture available for storms. But the Arctic air is still very much in place over Canada, so when these systems develop, the clash between very cold air and increasing moisture can produce prolific snowfall. So if you were thinking you were done with winter, you are not. We have at least another 3 to 4 weeks of potential winter storms